Hello, it's great to be here. I'm your host, Conrad Carding today, and I'm joined with a few of the many organizers that make NeoMatch happen for you. Hello, everyone. It's great to see. And please, everyone, share where you're from. It's just so cool to see how we're a global community. I'm joined here by three co-organizers. The first one is Nick Halper, who is our newly minted CEO. Nick, say hi a little bit.
Hey, everybody. So excited to see you all here. It's awesome seeing how active everybody is in the chat. We have people from all around the world.
India, Brazil, everywhere. Ella, I'm also joined here by Ella for the discussion. Ella, introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Ella. I was the Executive Director of NeuroMatch Academy this year, but this is my third year of helping organize NeuroMatch. And then in my real life, I work at Harvard on computational neuroscience curriculum.
I think this is your real life at this point.
Debatable.
and it's hard to appreciate the unbelievable amount that goes into executive producing a production like NeoMatch Academy. It must have been quite something, no?
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Emotionally.
Lastly, we have Marius Pescitario on screen here. Marius, what are you doing at NeoMatch?
Hi, everyone. I help organize projects, the project section of the course. I did this last year, and I'm very happy to do it again this year. I'm also very excited to start the third edition of NeuroMatch. This has been a really amazing journey.
Wonderful. So why don't we go to the next slide and talk a little bit NeuroMatch Academy, what will be happening this year. Oh, and hold on, I want to say one more thing. There is a question button in the middle at the bottom of your screen. We love questions. We love talking with you. Your questions can be like, hey, there's something I don't understand. It can also be like, hey, can we next year have a course on why cats are the best pet at all overall. No, but basically it's a means for communicating, and we can't have everyone on screen at the same time. So it's really good if you basically talk with us to those questions. So let's first briefly talk about it. We have two very different courses. How did we get there? No, we started with the computational neuroscience course, NMA. That's what we did in the first year. And we added then in the second year a deep learning course because we saw that a lot of people were interested in both. But there were also some people that were only interested in deep learning. So this introductory session here is for absolutely everyone. Some of you are here for the neuroscience, and some of you are here for deep learning. And some of you find both interesting. Some of you are here for being students. Some of you are here being TAs. But the really cool thing about NeoMatch is, if you want, we have world-class lecturers and world-class materials on both sides. And we have put the team has put so much effort in making these courses polished and useful and state-of-the-art, and is updating it every year, that these are just two really, really wonderful courses. But
go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's not obvious maybe when you first sign up for these courses, but they're contributed to by so many people, and I think that's what makes them so amazing. Is that you're getting the best experts in each topic to contribute, and then you're getting a bunch of people who are giving them feedback and making it better and better and better. I think that's what makes the content so perfect.
Wonderful, which brings us to the next slide. Let's talk a little about what NeuroMatch is. What is NeuroMatch about? No, at the first slide we have yes, it's about the scientific content. But the scientific content is just a small part of a much, much bigger puzzle, which is we have an incredible effort of diversity, equity, inclusion worldwide, people from all kinds of backgrounds, and we'll talk a lot more about it. NeoMatch is also about connecting and sharing and getting together on common topics. And it's about real learning, about helping one another overcome all kinds of challenges. And it's also about mentorship and networking. So there's all these aspects, and we want to talk in this introductory session a little bit about the many, many pieces. So in the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is very important for us as organizers, and I think it's very important to most participants here. So we want our content to be maximally accessible, and that means lots of things. Now, like, Ella, what does that mean, like on the technical side, maybe?
Yeah, we've tried to make, well, first of all, we tried to make the curriculum just very active and engaging. But we also have tried to make it accessible. So we have everything mirrored to a Chinese tech stack because people in China can't access YouTube and Google. So we have it in Kaggle and Bilibili as well. And then we've also tried to caption every video. And as much as possible, we've translated those captions to Spanish and Mandarin when people are watching so that they can see it in perhaps a language they're more familiar with.
Yeah, and then there's, of course, it carries into all parts. No, Marius, how does it affect the project management?
Well, I think one thing we realized over the past 2 years is that different people at different stages going to approach projects in different ways. For some of you, it's going to be your first project. And so we tried to make a path so that you can still make progress, even though you might be a complete beginner. And that's how all journeys start. And we've tried to make those steps accessible as well.
Cool. So Nick, I mean, like, you're our CEO. tell us something about how you see the role of the DEI across our institution.
I mean, I think DEI is at the core of NMA. We've talked about some of the specifics on how it manifests in tech or projects, but it also is just in how we run. Right, the fact that we have several of these opening ceremonies is just to accommodate people from different time zones and backgrounds and regions from all around the world. We offer our course in multiple languages. We work on readability and colors and our branding and our fonts that we use and how the visual presentation of our content goes. The platform that we choose, the Jupyter books that things are launched in are chosen because they're so accessible. They're not behind paid services or a paywall. Everything we do, I think, really revolves around making things equitable.
Right. No, and you see it in all these things. No, we have people from all races, ethnicities, gender definitions involved. We have young people and we have old people, like myself included. We have people from all kinds of countries. We suddenly even contain a few people with different nationalities, right, or different places of origin, even here on the panel. And if anyone has been watching what's happening on chat, we must have had people from dozens of countries tell us where they're from. We have people from all kinds of religions involved. We have people or lack thereof. We have people of all kinds of disability or ability status involved, people of all kinds of gender and sexual orientation involved. We have poor people and rich people. We have married and single and everything in between, in a way. All kinds of languages. No? Like, in fact, let's talk about it on chat. Everyone, quickly, tell me which language is the language that you're most that you learned in your home where you grew up.
And say it in your language.
And say it in your language, exactly. I want to, like, all my co-panelists, you should do it as well. Cool. This is just so much fun seeing this. But because we have this community, not like what we're trying to do is like solve all of them, and that's why we have pods that run in many of the major languages, so that people who really benefit from being able to speak with people in the same language, we have that. And we have different ideas, perspective, values, different opinions about what's going on. All those things here, like, yeah, it's wonderful. Oh yeah, and Anvesh has like 4 of them already, 3 of them already, just to get started. It's just wonderful to see all of that. Why don't we continue on the next slide? But like this diversity that NeoMatch represented, that's something that we really celebrate, and that is really, really important for us. Connection and sharing. So NeoMatch is a community. It's a community at lots of levels. It's a community between learners. And one of the big reasons for this pod concept that we have is that we want you to get to know one another. We want you to build a community of people that you can rely on. We want to help you make the connections that help you like maybe get like a PhD position in the right lab, or that help you like do research with others in the future, or do a startup together, or like we want to foster these communications between the learners. But it's also a community of people on the organizer side. You're all invited to join us as volunteers and be part of the group that like structures NeoMatch. So what does that mean? We want to encourage you to participate in the community events, participate in professional development, introduce yourself to others. There will be some people in the same town where you are, say hi to them. There will be some people interested in the same scientific branches as you, say hi to them, like build a community. And as much as we can, we want to facilitate that as organizers of NeoMatch, because that's where the name NeoMatch came from, which is where we started introducing people to other people working on similar topics. And then speak up in the pods, talk about ideas. And you'll be on Discord. And many, if not most of us, are on Twitter. Follow @NeoMatch on Twitter. And have that discussion with the community. And the main thing probably that most of you will get out of NeoMatch is the connections that you make here.
And I think these 2 slides together really show off what NeuroMatch is, right? This diversity of background and thought and experience, and then bringing that into these connections. That's what makes it so valuable. That's what makes this diversity valuable, is when you share it and engage with others. So please do interact with everybody. It's what makes NeuroMatch fun.
Right, cool. Why don't we go to the next slide? Oh, hold on. Let me briefly celebrate one more thing that's on this slide, which is like the artwork that Daniela Buchwald has done here is just so cool. Like where you see the different model systems that neuroscientists study. And also you will find lots of really cool pod names. And there's a tradition of making artwork that goes with the name of your pod, and because pods have identities, and it's nice to express them. Let's get to the next slide.
That might be a little challenging this year with the dishes. Each pod is named after a dish, so we welcome some creativity in there in that, or maybe making a dish and posting a photo.
Or making it purposefully all wrong. Wonderful. So Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about who is NMA? As CEO, you have a lot of overview there.
Who is NMA? Like Conrad said earlier, I mean, NMA is a community, and that's what makes it so valuable. It's not just the panelists you have here on the screen. It's all of the teaching assistants you're going to be working with. It's the mentors that you can engage with. It's the panelists that show up in the career panels and the panelists you'll see today, like the alumni panels. It's the board members that help make NMA, kind of originated NMA. It's the sponsors who help make it happen. It's the instructors who made these videos and produced all of this content. It's the so many volunteers, over 500 of them, that made NMA possible and continue to make NMA possible. And of course, it's the exec committee that you're going to get to meet throughout today and throughout the time in the course. It's all of these people coming together that really, I think, make NMA possible. But probably the most important group that we haven't mentioned yet is you. You are all NMA. As we emphasized earlier, NMA is a community. And your participation, both with each other and with us, and engaging in the content, like this is why we're all here, is to make this type of learning and this type of community possible. So NMA is really about you, students. But there's also a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Aren't those pictures great? So pods have so much fun with one another that they often send us the photographs of how things are going on in their pod. And here you see some of those where you then see the groups that actually do the learning, and you really see like this incredible rich diversity of different groups, and some of them are very funny if you look carefully. Why don't you continue, Nick?
Yeah, I was just going to say there's also a lot that's going on behind the scenes, and I kind of want to turn it over to Ella here to talk a little bit about what organizing NMA really looks like. It's a big operation, and Ella's done a lot to lead it and make it happen.
Yeah, so the slide you're looking at shows kind of our organization structure. There's a lot that we accomplish. A lot of it's behind the scenes, as Nick said. So this shows our executive committee, which is really kind of leading the effort each year. So we have so many volunteers in addition to the executive committee. But the exec committee is kind of leading and organizing the efforts in each department. So you can see we have an instructions department, a tech department. They helped build the portal, professional development, projects, curriculum. We have so many. And I think we're going to try and bring some people in exec on to just talk a little about what they did in their department. But maybe Marius,
awesome.
Marius, do you want to talk a little about projects?
Sure. In projects with Scott Linderman, our job primarily is to make sure that you all have a nice structure along the 3 weeks of projects. Projects are a little open-ended, so we don't want to over-specify what you're going to do, but we want to give you lots and lots of options, and we want to give you lots of mentorship for achieving your goals. And so we give you mentorship both in the form of your normal TA, who is going to be helping you with your projects, but then you get an additional project TA who will also focus on your project and help you along. And you get an external mentor, which could be a postdoc or a professor somewhere. And they will also come in every now and then. And so our job is to make sure that all these people exist and they know what their roles are. And we train them and we coordinate them so that when the 3 weeks of project starts, you all are kind of set up already with your respective mentors. That's it in short.
Yeah, I think it kind of like doesn't show off the scale and scope of some of this work that has to go into making it happen, but it's incredible that it does. And I think to Ella's point, just to emphasize some of these departments, like I guess we're getting on Alberto and Parisa here soon. But each of these has a critical role and operates, not just inside themselves as a little unit, but they're operating throughout all of NMA and really working together. So there's a lot of things that kind of transcend these groups, and it requires a lot of coordination.
So Alberto has joined us. Alberto, do you want to tell us a little about what it's like to volunteer for NMA and being on the exec committee, and what the communications department is all about?
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm pretty excited to be here today to see the excitement of the beginning of this NMA 2022. So I'm co-chairing with together with Conrad the communications department, and the fact that I like more is that we are kind of the interface between the executive committee, the volunteers, all the people who are making NMA from the inside to the outside, to the world, to try to reach the whole continent. Antarctica still, we didn't got it. But what we are doing is to managing the website, all the social media, the posts that you see, the content, the art. It is really amazing what the volunteers that are collaborating with us are making. So the video series, the music, the arts, the logos, it's really it's amazing what they could do. And I will like to thank them for what they've done so far, what they've been doing. I hope that they are here today with us so they can hear this. So yeah, that's what we are doing, and yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
So maybe we should continue with Marius as well. No, Marius, tell us a little about like what the projects team does.
Well, I've already told you a little bit, but I can certainly continue. I can keep going. So let's see. I told you that our job is to make sure that the structure exists in place for you to be able to do projects, and that structure has many layers to it. For example, we have these project templates which we had to make. We made a lot of them last year. Many of them were actually contributed by project TAs last year. So we worked with them and they gave us beautiful project templates that you'll be working with. In addition to that, let's see, there are data sets. Again, we inherit a lot of what we've been already building up for the first and second year. We try to add new data sets in every year. For example, a lot of you have been requesting behavior data sets lately. I mean, you might think, in neuroscience, behavior is important. So we've been trying to get more of those data sets on board. What else have we been doing? Well, some of the advertising that we need to do. For example, working with Alberto to reach out to send emails to different communities and make sure we have enough mentors. And that has worked really well this year. We got, I think, upwards of 350 mentors now this year, of which maybe almost 300 or so were selected. And this has allowed us to give each and every one of the groups a mentor. Again, year after year, we learn, like last year, we didn't have mentors for DL. Year after year, we learn how to do things a little bit better, and kind of we keep, achieving more of our goals of supporting, in our case, the projects, but also for all of those departments that you've seen. They all have all this experience to draw on, and they keep improving things year after year. We are all, I think, so excited and impressed about how well things have gone this year. And we think this is a really good sign for, hopefully other courses in the future, and how NMA is going to evolve beyond just what's happening this year.
So Marius, Javier Jimenez, and I'm sure I'm bad at pronouncing the name, asks, what's the idea behind project starting on the first day?
Well, so so you'll be doing projects every day. The idea is that projects are a time, not just to like drill down on the content, and the goal is not to write a paper. The goal is to kind of learn about different aspects of research, and it all starts on the first day by getting to know each other. You start with some amount of brainstorming that you do. That's, I think, a really good way of knowing other people, is you start seeing like ideas coming out of them. And I think that really engages the group. You will quickly determine from those interactions, who's a good coder, who has a lot of experience in neuroscience or maybe in deep learning, and so on. And I encourage you to all to, use that project time, not just to always make progress on your project, but really to kind of talk big ideas, right? And talk about careers. If you want to do like a PhD or something, you can get advice from your peers, from your mentors, from your project TAs. I think you should think of the project time a little bit in that way.
Yeah, let me project another question here. This is a question by Kuma Nila, who asks, can they work on open data sets for projects?
Of course, yes. We encourage you to start looking for your own data sets, especially if you feel like you're at a point in your career where in 3 weeks you can find a data set and figure out a question with it. We have tried to organize things such that the data sets we provide are good for kind of more beginner students, but the goal always is to get to a point where you drive your own research, right? That's what it means to do research. It's not that someone gives you a problem and you solve it. 50% of the work, right, is just figuring out the question and figuring out how you're going to answer that question. That will almost always mean you have to find a new data set. And if you get to the point where you can have all those ingredients for your projects, then that's what we would think is a successful project. So not the end result. We don't want you to write a paper, just figuring out what all these different ingredients are and going through the steps.
But it's okay. Some people will eventually write a paper together that we bring together, no?
So some of our groups continue working afterwards, and eventually they might have posters, for example, at conferences and stuff, and it works great.
Cool. I want to next bring on screen Parisa Abedi. Tell us a little about what you're doing at NeoMatch.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. I'm in the instruction department working with Amita, and our role was setting up the stage for finding teaching assistant who are going to be the main face of NMA these days, these next 3 weeks, being with you students to go through tutorial, work through tutorial. So we had a lot of course volunteers to help us to ask for prepare the application, ask for TAs, and then make sure that we have enough teaching assistant based on students' need in different time zone and the level they are. And then now we are there for you guys if you have any questions, TAs have any questions, and so on.
Cool, wonderful, thank you. So I wanted to bring the discussion back to Nick now. Nick, one of the students' questions is if you want to volunteer, and I should say here, hold on 1 second here. It's a question by Yulia Antonenkova, who asks, how can students take part in volunteering here? What role exists? You showed us that big diagram with all the different groups. What can new volunteers do at UPenn, at NeoMatch?
Everything. There are so many different things people can do. You don't just have to be an expert in DL or Comp Neuro to come in and volunteer. We have people working on social media, on project coordination, on communications. We have people working on process development inside NMA. And there's other activities. It's not just NeuroMatch Academy, right? NeuroMatch has our conference and community events. So you can get involved in conference organizing. You can get involved in project management. There's all sorts of cool things you can do. And I think one of the things we really try to do in NMA and in NeuroMatch volunteering in general is provide a good environment to help people build up skills and learn new things that they want to participate in. So as you volunteer, the goal is to help you out as well, right? To put you on a path that gets you to where you want to be, or build up skills you want to do, or introduce you to people that you want to meet. And so volunteering at NMA is great. Volunteering at NeuroMatch is great.
What wonderful. Why don't we go back to the slide deck? We also have Elnas here. Elnas, tell us a little bit what you're doing at NeoMatch.
Hello. Well, I am actually trying to get in art contest and make it a little bit developed this year compared to last year. So we have some new categories, some news with them as well, and hope that everybody's gonna enjoy it. Yeah, we'll tell you a little bit about what art contest is supposed to be. It is in different categories, and we've added a few compared to last year. We have music, photography, t-shirt design, and stand-up comedy as before. And we have made your pod logo design as a competition. So we can get to choose a winner for this. So put your effort on it and get some winning with that. And also we realized that how many of you have suggested to have memes, and you can have some memes made and send it to us, so we could also have some fun with that, and also making posters. But the t-shirt design is going to be a little different from last year. You're going to find all the information sent to you in the Discord, and we'll be in touch. And yeah, go make teams right now. And the good thing is that some of the volunteers wanted to pair up with you. So go approach them because they're waiting for you to make teams. And yeah, what else should I talk about?
So tell us about last year. How in the year before? How was it? Like does NeuroMatch have any talent?
Last year was amazing. NeuroMatch is full of talents, like full of talents, full of multi-talented people in different art areas, and amazing in science all too.
I remember some amazing music.
Oh my, yes. So we are gonna share them all again as an example for people who want to do a contest this year, so they would have some ideas about what we have done in music and comedy. We had a great stand-up comedian winning that she's now in the backstage helping as well. And who is going to be in charge of the contest this year as well is one of the winners of the music of last year. Her name is Kirvani. You're going to see her in Discord more. And oh yeah, we also had a very interesting comedy episode made by our volunteers. Which one of them is here now? We can ask him to talk about his experience. Marius?
Yeah, that's hold on. We're full at the moment. I need to close some video. Marius, I'll be moving you out for the moment. Yeah, now we should have space to invite an extra person.
Yeah.
So to give everyone an idea of where we're going, we'll be briefly talking about the content curation process in just a few minutes. After you said Marius is joining us, and then afterwards we'll talk a little about the questions, and then we'll get some of the alumni to tell us about their experiences. Okay, I think we aren't succeeding at getting another person. Let's talk about the life cycle of NeuroMatch Academy content. Ella, you've been organizing much of that. Tell us how the things that we see, that we run, how do we get them?
Yeah, so we have obviously a huge part of NMA, in addition to the community and the projects, is the actual tutorials and coursework you do. So there's so many people who participate in this. We have a very long life cycle of your NMA content, as you can see here. We have our content creators. They come from all over the world at every career stage. We really have a lot of people helping create the content, but then we also have reviewers reviewing it, checking for copyright issues. We have editors edit after there's the integration of that review. Then we have a full dress rehearsal of every new day. So we have a team of people go through the content and give really detailed feedback to us. We then integrate that feedback. We have more editing. We have more code checks and captioning and translation and video editing. And finally, you see it. So there's a lot of people involved at a lot of stages. And so we're really excited that this whole process hopefully produces some really good content for you. And we really hope that you enjoy it. And, we can always continue to improve. So we do have daily surveys for you. And we'd love to hear your feedback so that we can make this better every year. Every year we use that information and try and improve. That's why we're keeping ourselves busy by not just doing the same thing. So please help us help future students as well.
And we really care about these evaluations. We really read all of them. We really take them into account. And as you may have seen, from year over year, we have like rather massive changes to the way we teach at Neuromatch Academy. It even meant that that piece of week 1 that I originally designed has been removed because it wasn't as good as the alternative. And it's certainly a worthwhile process. So what we want to do next, if I remember that right, is bring on a few alumni so that they can share what they learned, what's useful going forward. We will have to say we can only have a limited number of slots. We'll have to let Elnas go. I wanted to just say one thing. It's so cool with Neuromatch being this community. You can then get to know the people of that community. So oftentimes when people go to a conference, they basically contact everyone who's in their pod, everyone who's a co-volunteer. Very, very recently with Elnas, it was my opportunity to meet her in person. I was in Montreal for a book that we're writing. And it was just wonderful having breakfast with her and talking about all the things that we want to make happen within Neuromatch. And this community, this is just one example of like all these interactions that I think is very important. So we want to ask a few of the alumni on screen so that we can talk about how things were for them. So hi, Alnas. Cool.
I think I'll also get cycled off. So I just want to say there's an orientation video that covers a lot of logistics that we didn't want to waste your time going through again here. So please make sure to watch that because that has a lot of information on logistics for you. And I hope everyone has fun.
And logistics is remarkably important for like a really big course like Neuromatch. So watch it. See you, Ella. Wonderful. So why don't we start with Akash? Akash, tell me what's your interactions with Neuromatch?
Hello, my name is Akash, and I was the lead TA in Neuromatch 2020 and also 2021, and it was a great part of Neuromatch. Had a chance to interact with a lot of students from diverse background, like you mentioned before, and also to learn from the great content. Like it's really polished, and it was amazing. I felt like why was this content not present when I was doing my PhD, and it was very great.
It's the same experience that I have with that. I wish that existed. What about you, Sydney? Tell us what your interactions with Neuromatch have been.
I've actually been able to keep in touch with some of my Neuromatch group members. We haven't been able to go to any conferences yet, but we're together on Twitter a lot, and we've actually emailed back and forth a few times because I've had lab mates and friends use data that comes from their labs, and so it's like this big community that like, oh, you're working with this data, I can connect you to this person. I wouldn't have known them without Neuromatch, which is really cool.
Wonderful. So with you having experience, now we have like more than 500, almost 600 students like right here in this room. If you can give them a message, what would you tell them that like you wish like that someone had told you before you first interacted with Neuromatch?
I guess I can answer this one first if you'd like. I wish that I had really just like explored all the events available through Neuromatch, like all the professional development and networking events, because like I think while I got like a ton out of like the content, I would have loved to like really expand my network more because every single person that I've met through Neuromatch has been just exceptional, and I really wanted to stay in contact. So I wish I had gotten to more of those events.
Cool.
I agree with Sydney, and I would add that the content in Neuromatch is quite intense, and it is like okay not to cover everything, and it's better like to have a gist of all the topics that are present so that if needed, you can go back to this content and review it again for your projects. Yeah.
So what about the other? Oh look here, Dulce is joining us. Tell us how you interacted with Neuromatch.
Oh, it was really good. Like I had the opportunity to participate the first year in 2021 with the competition on par, and then last year, 2021, I did the deep learning. Amazing experience, both of them. Like I echo what Sydney say. I met a lot of like awesome people that we still connected, we still chat, and like whenever any of us make a paper or something, we just share it, right? And now we are a community. They were like really always in contact.
So what kind of hints would you give to the people that are now for the first time at NeuroMatch?
I can't start. Definitely don't think that you're gonna be an expert in 3 weeks. NeuroMatch is a lot of material. So try to just like learn as much as you can, like even if it's just high level, understand the concepts. The content is gonna be available for you later to revisit, which I have done multiple times. So just try to get at least a high level and talk to people. That's my recommendation.
Yeah. So what about Joao? You're also newly joining us. Tell us how you interacted with neuroscience in NeuroMatch.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, great.
All right, I'm actually currently at FEN, so I'm sorry for the not so perfect setup. But yeah, I mean, NMA at the time. So I joined in the first edition of NMA, first time ever. And it was at the time, basically a rescue for me because I wanted to get going with something that was, relevant to my PhD, my thesis. I wanted to do computational work. And at the time, everything seemed to be closed. The usual people that would come to the rescue, the societies, the associations were also they didn't really know what to do. And NMA came to the rescue. They organized stuff really, really quickly, very, very timely. And I was super, super fortunate to actually be accepted as an interactive student, which meant that I was actually able to have, depending on my time zone, my whole group of other students that will work with me, a TA, also kind of like a supervisor for the final project. It was absolutely amazing. It was very good.
So what was the highlight for you? Was there like one experience where you'd be like, wow, that 2 hours like made my NeuroMatch experience, or is it just the combination of all things?
So I think the best experience that I had was basically well, there are a few of them, but I think all things combined, I think you can divide it in 3 things. One, how timely it was in a time where I thought that there was not possible to have such a high quality, like being taught such high quality of computational neuroscience, in a time where everything seemed to be lost. 2, the fact that I had such a nice team of people also working with me. My cohort student was amazing, and my TI was also amazing. I think he's now working for Neuralink actually. So he is a superstar. And 3, the fact that by the end of our final project, I actually met someone who I really admired from the neuroscience of language field, which was almost a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I definitely, would not have thought possible, when the whole COVID thing started. So yeah, these 3 things were the highlights.
What about everyone else? What were the highlights for you?
Okay.
Who wants to go next? What on my screen? Sydney is first. Sydney, what were your highlights?
One of the highlights was actually, so in my group, we were just, and in the first few days, we were just chatting and getting to know each other a little bit. And we're talking about what kind of research we were interested in. And one of my group members started talking about some research that she was fascinated by and wanted to learn more about. And she started describing it. And it was the research coming out of my lab. And so it was just this wonderful, like, coincidence experience where I'm like, oh, I can show you how to do all these things. Like, and then she had access to amazing data, and it was just like such a wonderful serendipitous moment. It was really fun.
What wonderful, Akash. What's the highlight? What was the highlight for you?
So in my pod, there were students from like Iran, India, and like other places, and like after one of the days of like we had a music night, and like we shared music from our cultures and had a nice chat, and it was a great session. I mean, more than yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Nice. I'm personally into electronic dance music, but I'm not sure if I could convince many others to like that. So what about you?
But yeah, the cultural exchange,
yeah, the cultural exchange is incredibly valuable, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about you, Dolce? What was your highlight?
I think that for me it was the first year to be able to do the classes in Spanish. I'm from Venezuela, so I was able to just do science in my own language, right? Which I have not been able to do in so many years since I came here for my PhD. So that was like the highlight. That was amazing, just to share with people with similar backgrounds in mine. We like neuroscience, we enjoy it, we wanted to learn more, and having that community, knowing this great science is also being done in Latin America, that was kind of like a really good highlight for me.
Yeah, wonderful.
I mean, kind of coming on the back of some of these, how did you all continue to engage in some of these social connections you made through NMA? Like, what were ways that you fostered these or followed up with people? Do you still connect with people who you met through NMA? I guess starting with Sydney again.
Okay. I think that the way that I keep in touch with most of my group members and friends is through Twitter. Just like when we're sharing stuff and sharing papers and accomplishments and stuff, there's always like a congratulations from my group members. And so it's always really nice to connect with them like that. And I'm really, really looking forward to like SFN this year, because like I'm based in San Diego. And so I know that all of my NeuroMatch people are coming to San Diego, and so I'm going to send them an email and see if we can all get together and go for lunch or something.
Very, very nice.
Akash?
So it's the same, like, I mean, we use Twitter to connect to each other, like we follow each other and we get to know like what they're doing in their life, and also through LinkedIn. And yeah, and sometimes like there has been once we met had a video call after the NMA, but it was only once. But yeah, it's easy to connect over Twitter. Yes.
I have to say that for us, definitely Twitter, but also we continue to create our own channel in Slack, and we keep talking like on a really regular basis and using Slack. That's the way that we connect. And again, say the right things. I'm also pretty excited about SFN this year, because immediately when they send this, like, it's gonna be in person, I saw a message on the Slack channel like, "Are you guys going?" Like, so I'm really looking forward to meet a lot of like MatPod members in person this year.
Cool. What about you, Joa?
Yeah, I've recently talked to my TA at NeuroMatch. I think is doing brilliantly. We used to have our own Slack channel running for a while. Unfortunately, I think I lost connection with most of the pod. But I think if someone writes something on the Slack, at this point, like, everyone's busy right now. And back at NeuroMatch, I think we were like such a cohesive group. We helped each other, and I think that's the good thing, the great thing about NeuroMatch. It's not only about just you challenging yourself to go through all the course materials, because that is going to be a challenge. Of course, it depends a bit on your background, but it's so much information that it's going to be really challenging. So you need to rely a lot on the group itself, and it's such a great group experience that you'll definitely, most likely, you'll keep a connection with your peers for quite some time.
Cool. So I want to exploit the community structure that we have a little bit. We have a bunch of questions, and my original plan was that I'm going to bring people from executive to answer those questions. But in reality, the questions of the participants, you alumni, will be at least as good as answering. So here's the first question. It's a question by Ziad Gamil, who asks, is it hard for someone with a biological sciences background and without so much mathematical knowledge to pursue a career in computation neuroscience or AI? What do you think?
I can answer this one from personal.
I think it's possible.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And yeah, it is definitely possible, but it would take efforts to learn programming and also some of the concepts. And I mean, you have all the resources here using Discord or reach out to people if you have any doubts, and it should definitely be possible to do that.
Yeah, I can answer this one from personal experience because I came into grad school thinking about computational neuroscience, but without very strong of a mathematical background. And it was the source of so much imposter syndrome for the first year of my PhD. And I can tell you that with enough grit and sweat and tears, I got there, and I feel like I'm doing pretty well. But NeuroMatch was such a lifeline for that too. It's because I've heard of all these techniques being thrown around willy-nilly in my classes in these papers, and then NeuroMatch was okay, here are all the techniques that you've heard in order with examples. It was just here's the toolbox and how to use all the tools. And it was so helpful. And I'm so glad that I now have this resource forever. So it's very helpful.
Cool. Any additions to that on top of Akash and Sydney's? Okay.
Yeah,
otherwise,
I mean, yeah, just to compliment, really. My background wasn't totally in math. So my minor was in fact in statistics and operational research. But in the end of the day, what I had were bits and pieces of math, and then some knowledge about neuroscience. And I think what NMA actually did really well was already present what really smart people had already done to mix the two kind of disciplines and make the most out of them. So it was it is super inspiring. It was super inspiring to know what had already been done. And of course, just get some ideas. Just feel free to explore your ideas, even if they might not be sound in mathematical terms, just sometimes that's where the best ideas come from. You just get completely creative within languages that you don't even understand. And then when you actually become good at it, you actually find a way of operationalizing this and, make it something. So, yeah.
Cool. So there's another question for which I'm, I guess, the worst person on the planet to answer which is a question here by Jan Bendik, who asks, do you have some tips for very introverted people who struggle with networking and asking questions during tutorials?
Can I answer this one?
Sure.
I think I'm a really introverted person, but people also often talk about my ability to network. And I think it really came from this realization that every time you've sat there and hoped that somebody would come talk to you, or that you felt more engaged with the room, or that a certain question would be asked so that you could learn that piece of information, everybody else is feeling the same way too. And I think it's just this realization that everybody is actually just like you, and we're all human, and people want to make connections. And it's actually a free, very kind thing you can do to ask questions and reach out to people and introduce yourself, because it makes them happy and it makes you happy.
Right. I would also say that networking is such a sterile term. I think making friends is a way better way to say it. And this is also a great place to make friends, because you're here because you love computational neuroscience, are really interested in it. So you automatically have something to bond over. And I think that that's a great starting place. And it's better to think of it as friends than building a network.
I like that way of thinking.
And just to add a little bit.
I would also. Yeah, please.
I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to add is like if you have a question, probably someone else in the room also had the question. So there is sometimes it happens to me. It's like and I don't want to say anything. This might be a dumb question. Like this is too basic, but you don't know what you don't know, right? So it's better to ask and someone answer your question. They're like most likely someone else also has that. So don't be shy with that. Like I think that you're gonna find in NeuroMatch everybody's there to learn, and if someone have the answer, they're more happy to tell you I'll guide you through it. Like we are all here because we want to learn, not because we are professors that want to teach you. Like if not that, I think that you have a different role. So just keep that in mind whenever you have questions. That someone, if they have the answer, someone will happy guide you through it.
Yeah.
And I would add that participate in the contests. I think you will meet a lot of good people over there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. There's another dimension. You can make friends through your pod. You can make friends through joint questions, and you can make friends for them trying to be as funny as you but failing it. in the stand-up section. I think it's we just hit the hour, so we will have to slowly end that. Why don't we do a round of takeaways? Everyone gets to get one sentence. That's currently on the panel gets one sentence that you can give for the future of the next NeuroMatch generation. I'm sorry for putting everyone on the spot because I didn't warn any one of them about it. Who wants to go first? Who volunteers to go first? Oh yeah, and if anyone wants to not go at all, just don't go. Who would go first?
I can go.
Sure.
Yeah. So definitely do not be afraid to explore, and no one is judging you that bad.
That's a great message. Who goes next?
I would just have fun and try to learn as much as you can. It's again, I cannot emphasize, and a lot of people are gonna say there's a lot of material. You're gonna feel it, but just have fun and try to learn as much as you can in the time that you have.
Yeah, I can really second that one. I was gonna say have fun learning from and with smart people.
Yeah, I would agree to that. And I would also add, don't feel like you have imposter. I mean, you'll have imposter syndrome here. So don't worry about that. The content is intense and you will go through it.
So Nick, what about you?
Ooh, I get to say a takeaway. Ooh, I was gonna do have fun, but I think it's a really good one. I would say that NeuroMatch is for people from all sorts of different backgrounds, and you should definitely feel free to celebrate those and bring your unique perspective and engage in these conversations, because that's how everybody connects and learns and has fun together.
Wonderful. And I get the very last one. I think the one thing that I want everyone to know is that we really care about your experience, that we really want you to know that we're there for you, and that all the volunteers are working as hard as they can to make this be great for you, and that this kind of positive attitude for the community should guide our approaches. And I want to encourage everyone to contribute, help your podmates, help everyone else who's part there, and eventually join us as the NeuroMatch team. With that, thank you. Thanks everyone who appeared on screen. Thanks everyone who asked questions, and see you during NeuroMatch. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.